Hello and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, so of course that means we're playing Remnant Shadow, our Star Wars actual play. It'd be 6 Star Wars actual play. I'm your Game Master Jason, and with me is Duba playing Doc, Jeremy playing Ozen, Sarah playing Io, Eric playing Captain Iria, and Rappy playing Kelser.
I'm just gonna change the pronunciation every time.
Yeah, I may.
Playing the captain.
Yep.
Playing Captain that guy.
Captain that guy.
Captain Green Jeans? I don't know.
Sorry about that. I had whiny kids.
I know that feeling.
That's why I live alone. Blessedly alone.
Oh, I mean, it's my cats. But yeah.
Alright, who remembers where we were last week?
An assassination attempt was made.
Yes. And they did a very thorough job. I mean, not quite thorough enough, but... So yes, you were invited to a feast. Well, a kind of feast. As big as close to a feast as they were going to do while under siege. But a nice dinner. You got jumped by some people that seem to be able to blend into the surroundings.
Yeah.
At least at any sort of distance. Now, once they were on the ground dealing with you, there wasn't anything weird there. So the king got stabbed up pretty well. Several people got poisoned with darts. But then they decided to follow that up by stabbing the king multiple times. So we had a fight where some of the party were under the table almost the entire time, but, shooting at kneecaps. Kneecaps had it rough last session.
Oh, definitely.
I think by the end of it, most of us were out from under the table, though. Because I
by the very
someone,
end,
Ozen.
Yes. Oh, that's right. I forgot. You spent like 3 rounds wrestling with a dude.
Yeah.
But you managed to take a couple of them alive. Several of them escaped. I'm trying to remember. Did
One of them completely dead.
Yeah.
Was he?
Extremely dead.
I think one was for sure dead. By that point, Doc had arrived, and him and a couple of other medical sorts began tending to the injured. And while the king was badly wounded, I'm pretty sure one more stab would have taken him completely out. Doc has been able to stabilize him.
Good.
So tonight we're starting up. Not too long after that, they have gotten the king to his chambers. Doc has managed to stabilize him. Managed to explain to the natives what a blood transfusion is, and managed to get one done. It took a little extra work because first you had to identify the blood types this species has, and then find somebody.
Yeah.
Those hit with the poison have all recovered. It is apparently something non-lethal, but very debilitating.
Debilitating, yeah.
Which explains, I guess, why they didn't just dart him and run away.
Yeah.
During the fight, I just want to throw this as a reminder. During the fight, you heard one of the guards that doesn't speak basic, in reference to the attackers. What was the word he used? Trokah. I pointed it out at the time, I believe, but that's been a week ago. So.
Yeah.
If you're like me, you've slept a couple times since then, so your memories.
Maybe once.
Twice if being greedy.
But the guards spread out, began searching the palace complex. They don't find any signs of the attackers. Doc, when you're leaving the king's chambers later, there are servants in the hallway just painting the entire hallway down with this, just this kind of red goop. Think of like, back in the day when they would like whitewash up. You just have like kids out there just splattering this stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the like the black light.
No. They just got buckets of this stuff, and they just kind of the walls, the ceiling,
I will be back.
the floor. Even though there's the center part of the floor is already tracked up, but
For what it's worth, if nobody stopped Ozen, she's going back to the ship, heal up herself, or try to.
After your display, I believe Ozen had slipped away in the initial confusion.
Yes.
Once the enemies were dealt with, and guards and personnel came rushing in. So yeah, you have no problem getting back to the ship.
Check something real quick. Hey, I did it. First she's doing control pain to like make sure she can make sure she can competently cast her or do the rest of whatever mending she needs to do.
Control pain so she can concentrate and then.
Yes, and then get to it. So
Makes
that'll
sense.
be what she's working on for however long it takes.
Were any of the rest of you banged up particularly?
Nah, Cap is good.
No,
The
not
robot,
injured.
yes.
Yeah, the captain would take the Legionnaire back to the ship to work on repairs.
Yeah, BL
17.
17.
BL 17.
Yeah, it's not. It's not suffering from any massive damage.
Yeah.
That blade just slipped in and cut a couple of power cables that were of great importance.
Oh, okay. So he just replaces the cables.
As soon as you do that, BL's eyes light up and he sits up. It starts looking around like he's looking for the enemy. The little blades in his fingers come out.
They're dead.
The fight is over, I see. Blades are tracked.
They are. It is.
My apologies, Captain. I believe I underestimated what a primitive with a knife could do.
I think they just got a lucky shot.
Yes, sir. I'm sure that's what it was. And he kind of looks himself over. I don't seem to have suffered any damage otherwise.
Yeah, your chassis was more than sufficient for keeping their weapons at bay. Aside from that,
Did we suffer any casualties?
they tried to kill the king, but they did. There were repairs made.
Oh, very good.
Although, depending on who hired them, there will be casualties later.
The inevitable counterattack. Well, sir, do be sure to tell me what I can do to help.
Certainly. I might have you man one of the guns.
I believe my programming would allow for that.
Good. Depending on who hired them, we might be using the ship.
Very good.
For now, stay here and guard the ship. No
Yes,
telling
sir.
how many more might be around.
They were devilishly hard to spot.
I believe they were using a form of active built-in camouflage. Might have to see about upgrading your eyes with infrared sensors later.
Very well.
And then he'll leave BL-17 to that while he goes back to the palace. And he is pointedly remaining armed now. He has that massive rifle strapped to his back. And he's not letting anybody take his weapons anymore.
Well, they never tried to take your weapons entering the building. It was always just in the presence of the king himself.
Oh yeah, but next time they go into the throne room to try to take his weapons, he'll say no.
Alright, so while the captain is taking care of your battle droid, Ozen was already in her quarters on the ship. And I'm assuming does not come out to talk to the captain.
No.
Keltzer, Io, what are y'all doing?
Probably seeing if there's any more around. Kind of being a little bit more on guard.
Okay. Now, Keltzer has thermals in her helmet, doesn't she? Or am I making assumptions? Let me look at your stats. I take that back. I don't see it.
The only thermal thing I have is a thermal detonator.
Entirely different. Well, I guess technically it's still the same kind of thermal because it's still heat. But definitely not what I was thinking of. Though that might have been what I saw that made me think it was in there.
Probably.
Okay. So Keltzer is basically helping the guards search around to make sure there's no more of them.
Mm-hmm.
This would be going on, while he's taking care of the droid. It'd also be when Doc was helping take care of the king. Where is Io during all this?
This is after everything's gone down? Or just...
After everything's gone down, this would be while the captain was getting the droid fixed on the ship, while Doc is working on the king and some of the other folks.
Okay. And she knows they don't have any kind of... She's pretty sure no one on the planet has any kind of crazy advanced computer network or anything like that.
It's not supposed to. This is supposed to be a very low-tech world.
Not supposed to, but she'll do a scan anyways.
Okay. Yeah, she does not pick up any kind of signals.
Alright, then she's just going to kind of attempt to play guard and just kind of walk around and help where she's needed.
Okay, I want the holdout blaster like this.
Every time she comes to a T in the hallway,
I'll tackle somebody else.
I'm 1-0 for grapples today. I got this.
Hey,
I mean,
1-0 period.
Fair, yeah.
100% success rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right now she's walking around going, "Hey, this grappling stuff's easy."
Grappled that bird guy, Bird, lizard guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've got him listed as Dino Birdish. So, take your pick.
That bipedal pterodactyl looking guy. Yeah, she'll just unless someone specifically comes hunting her down, she's mostly just helping where needed.
Okay. You notice a couple of hallways that the servants are covering it.
Red washing?
Yes, we'll call it red washing.
Oh, it's the Passover. Okay.
Well, it's not just over door frames; it's like the whole surface.
Why are you? Is this a tradition, a purpose?
Several of the servants just look at you.
Don't speak common. Okay.
Eventually, one of the supervisor types, hears you and tells you, it's to keep the Trokah at bay.
The Trokah. Didn't one of the guards? Is the Trokah a faction?
Yes, I suppose you could say that. They are assassins that can hide themselves in plain sight.
Oh, so if they walk on it, they'll leave impressions.
Correct.
Okay.
And she gestures to kind of the middle where people have already been walking. You can see how it tracks.
Okay. Okay.
Even if they climb along the wall or along the ceiling, the marks will be visible.
That's remarkably clever for something so simple.
She goes, it doesn't smell the best in the world, but thankfully it washes off pretty easily with soap and water.
That is remarkably clever. Is it just this hallway, or is it multiple hallways? Just anywhere that leads to a certain location?
We have orders to coat the hallways leading to living quarters.
Of course. Then unless we're summoned there, I'll pass on to kind of keep out of the red rooms.
All right. So yeah, by the end of your patrol, you're pretty sure you know where all the high-ranking people are sleeping, at least. Because the servants' quarters, they're not bothering with.
I mean, unfortunate but fair. They probably only have so much of the goop. Unless they move the servants into the other area. Keep them closer.
Are you basing these, are these people based on the Archaeopteryx? Like the dino birds?
Not specifically. They're just kind of that in-between lizard and bird where they, got feathers, but... And they're
still
more warm-blooded, or more warm-blooded than cold-blooded.
Weird kind of platypus of species.
Now I want to design humanoid platypuses.
Deadly poisonous spurs.
They're Ewok sized.
They have to be really good at stealth, so that they could just pop in, and then you have to put a hat on them, and you're like, oh!
That's the race it is! It's those guys!
There is a platypus.
They're kind of blue shaded too.
I was picturing them in fur, but
Oh, blue fur.
Little martial artists. They like snap kick you to get you with their poisonous furs.
Most dangerous handshake. Anyways.
So that's tangent 1 down for the night.
Only 35 more to go.
Platypus people.
Yeah.
To be fair, in Aboriginal mythology, you have in the dream time, platypuses could also be people, but everything could also be a person there.
I'm just dreading the point when the inevitable water bear people show up.
I'm here for it. They've been around for forever.
Yeah, but still.
I'm picturing them in little overalls and like little straw hats.
And they're just chilling out on top of asteroids, just no spacesuit. Waving at passing ships.
They keep waving back, but nobody comes down to save us.
Yeah.
Need tardigrades.
Mm-mm-mm.
But within an hour, y'all gathered back together. Well, except probably Ozen. Some of the guards are reporting that they have found. They found a couple of dead guards on the walls, and some ropes leading off to the other side. Whether that's where they got in or where they got out, they're not entirely certain. Everybody's hoping that's where they got out. Because, if it's where they got in, they might still be somewhere in the city.
Yeah.
They have not initiated a major search of the city itself because, one, that's, if they're hiding out there, chances of finding them are pretty slim.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody seems to want to alert the general public of what's happened to the king.
Makes sense.
I mean, you can't keep something like that a secret for long, but they want to keep the rumors down. At least, and hopefully they're hoping the king will wake up in the next day or so. Because if he's up and lucid, well, then you can just tell everybody, hey, there was an attack, and he's recovering. He can make his own statement about it. All that jazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a morale thing while they're under siege. Some of the kings, the queen by this point, because they've treated her for the poison, and within an hour or two, she's up and kind of mobile again.
Mm-hmm.
She thanks you for your help. Her husband is only alive, now because of you. She especially thanks Doc. She's not sure any of their medical staff could have done anything with him, at the level of injury he was at. That whole borrowing other people's blood thing, revolutionary. Though some of the people around you thought that was kind of creepy. But,
Staunching the blood and then putting more blood in, mwah, work of art.
Where everybody's kind of like, ew. Does that count as cannibalism?
Only if you no. I say only if you drink it, but no.
Well, that also isn't going to help you with blood loss anyway.
I mean, they didn't know what a transfusion was, anyways. They wouldn't know that. It's going into your body. It'll figure out where it goes, right?
Fair enough. They might think that. But they don't appear to have any sort of legends of vampires, so, it's only mildly creepy.
Yet.
Just imagine if they knew about growing people's ears on the back of mice. But anyway, eventually it starts to get late. The queen tells you, you're welcome to stay here in the palace. They're taking, now that they know the Trokah are around, they are taking precautions. Or if you feel like you'd be more secure on your ship, that's fine. She's already sent a couple of guards out to, guard around your ship to make sure that your property isn't under any threat.
Good call. Good call.
Have you started interrogating that one we captured?
Yes. They are, what would you call a medieval or a Bronze Age?
Okay, so it isn't a torture rack.
I didn't say that.
They got him in the stocks.
Yep.
They're stretching him now. Next, Iron Maiden.
But yeah, she's got people down there. The captain of the guard is down there. A couple of the other king's advisors are down there. Men that have dealt with this sort of thing before.
Very well.
According to the stories, it's very hard to get information out of the Trokah, though. They are fanatically dedicated to their sect. Now, is there anything else that you guys are going to do tonight?
No, the captain would he'd stay on the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is going back to the ship to sleep.
He is, yes.
I always forget to turn that on. Okay.
That is where he feels. His ship is his own palace. That's where he feels the safest.
This is my domain.
Yeah. Quite so.
But you get back to the ship. BL-17 meets you at the door. Lets you know there have been no intruders. Some of the locals seem to have taken up guard outside the ship.
Yes.
But they were wearing the uniforms of the palace, so he assumed that was okay.
Yes, the queen informed me that they were sending guards to keep an eye on my property.
Yes, they did so well in the throne room. I feel so much safer now.
That's why I'm on the ship.
The astromech has been doing sweeps of the surrounding area using infrared.
Yeah, R2's good at that. Has he found anything?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Makes sense.
Assuming the attackers were warm-blooded like the other natives, we should see them coming should they enter our field of view.
True.
Assuming they cannot mask their thermal signals, signature.
Do we have a lot of dust or anything on the ship that we could throw around it? Like paint or something that would stay wet long?
Probably not.
Not really.
Invent paint thinner.
Just make it very well. Are we on a concrete pad, or like just earth?
Cobblestone.
I was gonna say maybe do a sprinkler of some kind, but
See, now I'm
I don't think the ship is equipped for that.
Now I'm picturing you sitting with this whole sprinkler system, and at the end you're sitting there with a garden hose and realize you have nowhere to tie it into.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
Poor servant spent all night running out and pouring buckets into your garden hose.
It's just on the top of the ship.
Well, luckily your R2 unit doesn't have to sleep, though.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best idea I had. It was low tech. That's what they're doing with the red paint stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I see. For right now, I'll just let R2 maintain his infrared scanning for now. Question, the one I stabbed, was its blood warm?
Yes.
Okay.
They're still not vampires.
Damn.
Yeah, he'll
trying so hard.
I'll just chime in. Well, I mean, the one I stabbed was warm-blooded, so it should show up on infrared.
Gruesome, but reassuring.
Speaking of stabbing and being reassuring, Io, we need to have a talk.
Those two words don't naturally go together.
Come on.
No, talks can happen right here. In front of witnesses.
Oh no, in the back of the ship,
Io.
alone, with the knife collection.
Let's go.
Just get it over with.
Fine. How long have you known?
Like, how long did it take to travel from the last planet to here?
A few days, I think. A week tops.
Surely, however long it took to get to the planet.
Yeah.
And I told her to give it some time because I know how you would react. And as your second in command, I'm trying to keep everyone alive.
That's why I didn't call you out on it that day.
Are you going to act like you're all-knowing in retrospect just to seem all-knowing and terrifying?
No, it's more of the fact that Ozen showed up back on the ship completely healed after having blaster wounds when I got there.
Maybe she just is a naturally quick healer. Maybe she's got alien blood. Maybe she got a transfusion or something. Just try not to be a bastard about it. I mean, she likely doesn't have anything to do with the Jedi that took your sister. I mean, she's hanging out with a Hutt. How good of a Jedi can she be?
It's the only reason why she's still here.
Just give her a chance.
She only gets one.
Oh, now you're being dramatic.
And this is the one chance she's getting.
Well, go talk to her then. Without a lot of weapons. Give me all of your guns.
You would not be able to carry them all.
I can call back the R2 unit and he can help me with them.
Bunch of loader droids. You're fine.
Yeah, get the loader droid. Put him on the loader droid.
I'm not going to speak with her now.
Just at some point, try to have a conversation with calm heads.
That's why I'm not talking to her now.
Okay.
Don't do it again.
No promises, Captain. If I think it's in,
How I feel about slavers.
Jedi's not quite. If it's in the ship's best interest and in the interest of you not killing somebody that could potentially be of use in the future, I will make my own decisions.
That was a very roundabout way of saying you're going to do whatever the hell you feel like.
I'm glad we're on the same page, Captain. Taps on the shoulder, walks off. Yelling over the shoulder, I'm getting better at this whole independent thinking thing.
Yeah, you are. Me as the player sitting there going, I completely tracked everything that Sarah as the player said, but this is because we share a brain cell. Whose turn is it with the brain cell? Me or you?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay.
Clearly not mine.
All right.
Just waiting for Captain Area to be it. All right. After that, I go to Ozin with the gun.
Nah. If he felt
15
like
guns.
if he felt like going to Osim with a gun, it'd be a shotgun.
It's the only way to get her.
I'm just picturing him at Ozen's door, the gun pressed to the door about head level.
Is that the one part of Hot Fuzz where he's just riding the horse out with all the guns?
Don't give me ideas.
So anyway, the night will pass uneventfully. Well, the rest of the night.
Now.
It's the rest of the night will pass uneventfully. Though it's probably after midnight by this point, so I guess I should say the early morning passes uneventfully. Sunrise comes. Does Ozen venture out of her room for kind of the typical, at the typical kind of breakfast time?
I was gonna say I've been quietly rolling here for like accelerate healing. It's harder. It's harder when you're incapacitated.
Mm.
And I finally got it, like towards the end of that conversation.
Ozen's just somewhere in her room, just like, come on, heal! Why isn't this working? The force has abandoned me.
But yeah, she'll get out. Still a little worn, ragged, so has a little bit of a limp to her. She gets breakfast.
In the mess hall. Morning. Okay, he didn't kill you in your sleep, so that's a good thing.
Been there, done that. And she grabs like a piece of toast or whatever.
Yeah, so y'all are at the back at the ship.
Mm-hmm.
At the lounge.
Yeah.
He tried to pull the all-knowing that he's known the whole time. Should just a heads up there.
Oh, we have a map. Nice. And a wipe to regular screen.
Well, I just want to show people where the ship the lounge was.
We have a map. We might as well show it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll have somebody attack you on the ship at some point, just so we can use the map.
Oh boy. Yeah, Ozen's just sitting in the mess hall with a piece of toast and just very slowly eating it.
I'm just picturing like a little kid just nibbling on the edges.
I was just gonna give like a nod and wander off, check on R2 or something.
Yep. He'll nod back and this tense, quiet stare down.
In the cockpit, your R2 unit is, he's plugged in the computer. He's been running the scans all night.
Mostly an excuse for her to get out of the awkward. Just kind of pats the droid on the head.
Good boy. You don't talk back.
It's an R2 unit. It so talks back.
Is the captain also eating breakfast at this time?
He will come down to eat breakfast, yes.
Jason over here encouraging the drama.
Yeah.
So do you sit down next to Ozen? Or across the table from Ozen?
Across the table.
Leans in real close.
And he just eats quietly.
He'll just sit there. She's about halfway through one single piece of toast.
carbs. They're a balanced breakfast.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's what she's about.
What about Keltzer? I know Doc doesn't eat breakfast. But...
Yeah, she would have had breakfast with the group.
All right, so you come down. You see these two sitting at the table. In the awkward silence. The awkwardness is palpable.
As palpable as the toast that Ozin is eating.
Pelser would sit at the table and be like, so we have a Jedi in the group.
Ah, here we go.
Not gonna give you shit.
You already are.
No. I'm just saying that we have one in the group. Bit shocking, but I mean, kind of thought they kind of were dying out with everything that went on.
You know,
Captain
thought the
looks
same
like he
thing
wants to
for a
say
while.
something, but his teeth sort of grind together a bit. As his knee-jerk reaction would have been to say, as they should.
I thought the same thing. And then the far flings of space took me to Lothal. And they are doing things still.
Okay. So what had you start working with the hut? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I didn't. My connection to the Force is still a work in progress. As you might imagine, an entire genocide of your closest friends, confidants, and mentors takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
So I didn't. My connection to the Force is now growing back at my ripe old age of. She has to think for a second. 57.
Okay.
So, but when I was in Lothal, I saw people who were in even worse situations than I standing against. I'll just say it, the evils over there.
Mm-hmm.
And can I say I was inspired to once again she pats the side of her coat, take up arms, as it were. Still have
Okay.
to be kind of low key about it. I don't exactly go waving it around everywhere, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
That I understand fully.
Closer Ozid gets to finishing her toast, the less of a bite she takes.
As soon as I finish this toast, I'm gone.
I'm sure you're already aware that I spoke with Aya.
Okay.
I'm giving you one chance. And only one.
I
Blow
don't know
it,
where that's coming from.
you're off the ship. I'm going to be very clear. I hate your kind. And I hate the other half of the equation your kind represents in equal measure. Both sides of this whole we control the Force nonsense that you, the Sith, have started. You have done nothing but wrong to the galaxy since. quite honestly, you're only maybe a step above slavers to me. And I hate them with a passion, to the point where I would quite cheerfully walk up to one and blow a hole in his head if I felt I could get away with it.
Io had been making her way back, hears this going on, turns around, walks back.
Like, not today.
Y'all need anything? Oh, you're okay. No.
Doesn't just looks Ayrton in the eyes. Ever brought this on? And she actually gets a good look at Ayrton and sees like the dark side in him. It's like, ah, understand.
Your kind stole my twin sister. Forbid us from ever speaking again despite the force bond we shared. I felt her die when your so-called promised one began its purge. She died alone and afraid, begging for her life and those behind her. And that's not something I will ever forgive you or the Sith for.
I was lucky to survive. I would have been just like her.
You survived. I felt her die as if it were me. That's not something that goes away. It's not a scar that really ever heals. So, thanks to Io, you have one chance to prove to me that you aren't the pseudo-slaving filth your kind are. Thank her for it. And he'll get up. Unless you have anything else to say, I have work to do.
As you were, Captain.
Then he leaves.
Alright, so what does the crew plan to get into today?
Well, if feasible, Doc would gladly go around and check on the king's status, see if there's anything he can do to help accelerate his healing,
Okay.
and also help the rest of the staff that possibly could be, still out of commission.
Alright, as you head out the gangplank, BL-17, who's more or less taking up position close to that. Do you require an escort, Doc?
Ozen walks up behind, puts the hand on BL and just walks forward.
Ah, I see.
I do not believe your assistance is needed, though it is noted and thanked.
Of course. Do be careful if you run into any of those. Their knives are deceptively effective.
Understood. We will send word if assistance is needed.
I'll keep the comms open. And he lets you out and then raises the gangplank once y'all are out. The king is still not awakened once you've examined him, but he seems to be recovering well. You expect him to wake up sometime today. There's no signs of any any kind of permanent damage. I mean, he'll be scarred, obviously. Though not as badly as if he had suffered those wounds and been treated by a local doctor. Refresh
enough.
my memory. Does your ship have a back to tank?
We ain't that bougie.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
We do?
Yep.
We do.
He said
Do we actually have back in it?
when we were discussing the ship, we have one tank.
That's right. That's right. Did I put that in the stat?
Damn, we bougie.
I mean, that was part of the cost for all the extras that got put in.
And remember, Ludo the Hutt is a car guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was pimping that ride regardless of who it was going to.
in case I happen to get shot on the way to the something. I mean,
Yeah.
so is it hut-sized?
Well,
So what's his ship?
Ludo is not an especially large ship.
Still, he's larger than a human.
But
or
no,
like
no,
standard human.
It's size more or less. Well, it's about like the one you see in the movie.
Okay.
You know, something roughly humanoid.
Could be suspended in it.
You know, anything say Wookiee size down.
Yeah.
You know, the Wookiee might have to bend his knees a little bit, but
Curling in there, floating in the fetal position.
But you know, the local doctors are commenting on how quickly the wounds are healing, and you were using back to patches, and stuff they don't have access to. When you get there, the Queen is of course there, though she can't stay for long. She's kind of having to fill the gap, in the power structure.
Doc will make sure to greet the Queen and let him know his findings and that the king should awake at some point today, due to how quickly he's recovering.
Yeah, she hopes you're right. Yeah, and she leaves instructions that the moment he awakens, come get me. I don't care what kind of meeting I'm in, come get me.
Of course.
Ozen, as you're going in, you would have seen the red stuff painted on the walls. Leading into the living quarters.
Tactical decision. I think she was one of the ones that actually saw them at first. So and noticed that they climbed. So it's like, oh well, that's a tactical decision. It's definitely not an aesthetic choice.
Oh no, the red is clashing with the other decor.
Mm-hmm.
In some areas, they've actually taken tapestries off the wall to paint it with this stuff. So is Ozen just kind of hanging around in the room while Doc does his thing?
Mostly just kind of like eyes peeled for whatever. Anyone? I would imagine these people are as intimidated by Ozen's magic fire sword as the other people were. So I imagine they're keeping a wide berth away from her.
You're getting a lot of looks from people in the room. Nobody, other than the king, nobody currently in the room was there when you pulled it. But the way they keep side-eyeing you, they've heard about it. But of course, y'all got blasters and stuff that they've heard of before and just never seen. So,
Ozen, your assistance and presence is appreciated.
Of course. She pats Doc on the shoulder. Not the one he's currently using to work on the king.
Again, with
Fuck!
with us being, or this kingdom being under siege, I would imagine that they would like to come and finish the job if they were so inclined.
Well, the red stuff sure is detracting from that, I imagine.
I'm not one for, I believe people call it decor, but I do believe it clashes terribly.
No, you're right.
One of the guards in the room, explains to the two of you what it's there for.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ozin also saw the one of them like try to climb.
Doc will respond in kind. Ah, a tactical decision. Clever.
Yes. From where y'all are at, through the window, y'all can hear, off in the distance, you hear what sounds like horns sounding. A couple of the guards kind of react to it.
Fucking Rohirrim.
Do what now?
Damn Rohirrim.
Hearing the horn go off, Doc would kind of pause for a moment and turn his head to the guard. Question. Due to what I heard in my optical sensor, or not optical, my
Audio.
Girl.
wow audio. Thank you.
Towards
Wow,
the
my
back.
brain is shorting.
He's got euthanasia.
Yeah, buddy. Curious, was that a warning of some sort?
Those were likely the horns of the armies outside the walls. Probably means they're making a push on one of the walls. What good that's going to do them since you destroyed their siege weaponry, though, I don't know.
Is this a fight because they want the cure, or is it a fight because they think you don't deserve? What's kind of going on here?
They claim to have evidence that we had a cure for the disease that we were keeping to ourselves.
Interesting. I wonder who would get them a rumor from that.
It's a coalition of kings of 4 other cities. He's like, and the guard's like, I mean, we had hired you to go get the cure, but you were only gone just a very short amount of time before they showed up.
As Doc would start, tending to the king, or back up tending to the king, he would just kind of mutter aloud, interesting. I wonder if our certain friend would have something to do with that. Previous cargo, I imagine. Which that was more, of course, directed to Ozen to kind of decipher.
All right, what do you say? I like spaced out for just a second.
he was stating that basically that the only thing he can imagine through his logic is perhaps a friend has started that rumor. Previous cargo, perhaps.
I don't think he would get anything out of that.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
I mean,
That's true.
basically.
Man with a high-powered rifle starts a rumor that starts a war.
No way he could possibly benefit from warmongering. But of course, Doc will stop and just continue bending.
But yeah, the guard's like, the guard mentions that because, not that he's an expert
Sure.
in logistics, but it takes a while to put together an army their size. So they'd have had to have already been putting the army together before y'all ever showed up.
They would have already been, on it.
So the rumor was clearly going on before we had any inkling of how to get to a cure.
Before we even made contact here.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothesis. Possibility of them already planning attack, just needed excuse.
That's pretty much what we're thinking. What us in the barracks think.
Sound logic? I would agree with it.
It's just kind of like moving all of the people, like just pretending all the people looking at her just aren't looking at her, and she's just eyes peeled around, just making sure nobody's coming in that shouldn't be here.
Doesn't seem to be. Alright, so while Doc and Ozen are doing that, what are the rest of you back on the ship doing?
Da, 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 da,
On the wheel. Oh,
I mean,
Io's having a long conversation with the R2 unit, just like the R2 unit's her pet dog somehow. Like, can you believe this?
just venting to the R2 unit.
Essentially, yeah. Just like
Eh.
sitting there, like next to the R2 unit, just chilling,
And every
like
now
eating the rest of her breakfast.
and every now and then it was, every now and then it gives just a short little whistle or boop in response,
Oh yeah.
for all the world, giving the impression of somebody sitting there going, yeah, while it's doing something, while they're doing something else, yeah, it's messed
Yeah,
up, yeah,
that sounds right for the R2 unit.
yeah, can't do
They're
nothing,
like-
yeah,
they're like,
you know the captain, yeah, yeah.
They're like wiring some stuff, and they're like, "I told you that fucking bitch is crazy."
It's creating it's over there building an eye attachment so it can attach it and then roll its eyes while she's talking.
It has like it's building a little sign that pops out at the top, but that just like cues up emojis.
I mean, this thing is Aeda's R2 unit, so I can totally see it being sassy enough to do that.
R2 units are just like 90% sass to begin with.
That's why you should remember to
D2
wipe that
definitely
regularly.
was. Mm-mm-mm.
Do we hear the horns on the ship?
You
Or
probably
does it-
wouldn't from inside the ship, but when they sound, R2 pumps it in through the speakers because he's monitoring the sounds outside the ship as well.
What was that?
An army horn, probably. Considering the army outside the wall.
It's a horn, made out of the horn of a great beast.
Had to climb up a tower to sound it. Should we be concerned?
R2 beeps. He does a little quick few beeps and bloops, just reminding you that well, we can just fly away if we need to.
We can, but then I don't get paid.
I need my shiny sword.
Was it a sword or a knife he was going after?
He wanted a sword to
Oh.
add to his collection.
That's right. That's
Talking
right.
like short sword. We're talking like bastard sword.
Well, it's Bronze Age, so they're all going to be relatively short. You didn't get long swords with bronze weaponry.
Probably something akin to like a gladius or something like that.
Yeah, like that, or a Kopesh or something like that.
I vote for Kopesh.
Of course you will.
Should we go check it out? Should we see what's going on at the palace? Should we have second breakfast?
Levensies.
Why would we have 11sies? That's a weird. I mean, just another breakfast. Don't cross the streams, man.
You did it first. I mean, we can, I suppose. If they get annoying enough, we can always just bombard the army from high orbit. Or air. Or any range, really.
That could get us in trouble, probably with somebody somewhere, I'm sure.
Karmic trouble.
The greater universal somebody.
I heard they were
The
dead.
royal somebody.
Well, I'm not getting paid to fight for right now. If they get into the city, that'll be a problem. But
We should just all go check on this. Counselor, are you coming?
Yeah. I want to go check to see how how they're doing on the walls anyway. See if it is an issue we need to worry about.
BL, go join her.
Of course, sir.
He'll get his guns back.
And make sure to bring your gun.
Of course. Because I think you had supplied him with a blaster rifle, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Eventually, he's going to be getting upgraded to super rifles. So,
A
actually,
ridiculous carry, absolutely.
I just closed out a roll 20.
What happened? We just gave the droid so many guns. We pimped the ship. We pimped the droid. How are your stats looking?
He's absolutely going to be pimping shit out.
Alright, so Keltzer and BL-17 are headed to the wall. That was where Keltzer said she wanted to check, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what I want to do is give him a heavy repeating blaster. That's what I'd love to do.
That just opens up for Jason being able to be like, okay, and the droid is hacked and it's now shooting at you. And I apologize if I just gave him ideas.
Alright, so the captain and Io are heading into the palace. Correct?
Yeah.
Alright. So yeah, as soon as y'all get to the palace, there's a guard immediately volunteers to show you wherever you need to go.
I'd like to also point out that Iota is fully armed. Rifle, pistol, and dagger.
They don't make no real comments about that.
I just got her holdout blaster, but yeah. Did we... Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze, and I don't want to sneeze on Mike.
Bless you.
I thought I was gonna sneeze at some point. It's just on the edge of my nose, so it'll show up eventually.
Yep.
Did we want to go try and find Doc and Ozen? Don't you give me that heavy sigh.
I'm allowed, but we can.
They might know what's going on with the horn outside.
Fine, let's go.
I was just gonna get a Be Friends shirt and stick the two of them in it.
That's a good way to end up with one less crew member right now.
The two of you stand over there and hold hands.
I have the lightsaber in it.
Because my brain, the way it is, smash cut to end of session. You're like, okay, get out of the room. Come on.
Alright, so the guard leads you to the king's chambers. If you ask him where your crewmates are, they let you know, Doc is in there attending to the king.
Huh?
When you get to the door, the two guards are like, you're not allowed to carry weapons into the presence of the king.
We saw how well that went at the feast.
I had literally just this look.
One of the guys is like, well, there's guards in there with him. And the other guard kind of looks at him like there was at the feast. And they both kind of look at each other, and they look at the captain.
Remind me, which of us was the more useful in taking out the assassins?
We didn't save his life just to sneak in and shoot him.
Finally, they open the door. They don't want no trouble out here in the hallway, but they don't want to get in trouble later. But eventually, they let you in.
I won't pull out any weapons unless it's called for.
Captain Rulas, he still owes me money. He lives. It's fine.
Owes me 350.
Actually, he owes me 17,500 and a sword.
And a sword. As the door cracks open, Ozin reaches into her robe, sees that it's them, pulls the hand back.
Did you hear the weird horns?
Yeah, they're louder here. That's probably a wall on the other side of the.
Kelser went to go check the wall. I sent BL-17 with her.
Okay.
Fantastic. Superior firepower along the wall. They should have a better chance.
Smash cut to Kelser just using the thermal detonator and a rocket launcher.
War's over, guys. Let's go home.
Yeah, just literally thermal detonator just chunks it. Just watch this.
I want to get off this planet.
Hey,
Oh, my beer.
It's just thermal detonator. Ching. Want to see some magic?
Y'all thought that lightsaber was cool. Look at this.
You want to see how you end a war really fast, guys?
Hire Mando.
God, now I'm just imagining just double thermal detonator, just ting ting.
Stone cold them.
Basically.
I can see that.
They push a ladder up against the wall. They're scaling the wall. Well, suddenly when it looks over, this little silver ball drops down at face level and just blows up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last thing he and people within an X amount of radius saw.
As also the ladder is just disintegrated. Just...
Kelser just know how to do the fist pump before she realized she's taking out a big chunk of the wall. Very poor workmanship on these walls.
As they mentioned that Kelser's over there, Ozin will actually just be like, Kelser, you good over there?
Yeah.
Would
she be good over there, though?
As she does that, her and BL have just gotten to the wall. You're basically going up the stairs that wind back and forth to get to the top. So you haven't seen what's on the other side yet, but but you can hear there's commotion on the other side, and you've got people running around the wall, firing arrows and all kinds of stuff. It's like one of those historic hollow vids.
Just like the stipulations.
I think I saw this in a Bollywood movie, but there was a dance scene.
So, if she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," then Ozin will be like, "Keep us posted if you need a hand."
All right,
Will do.
But over there at the wall, so you and BL-17, you eventually get to the top, and you get some looks, but you're distinctive enough. Everybody knows who you are, so nobody's confronting you or demanding to know why you're here or what you're doing or who you are. When you look over the wall, and you have to poke around where you can find a spot where you can get and look through, because most of the gaps, there's archers there. The armies seem to be launching assaults on a couple different spots. But one of them, you notice, they have rushed up, but they've got these almost like walls that they rush up close to the wall and they kind of collapse them together. And you see people with like shovels and pickaxes. You realize they're making, The other fights may very well be distractions as these guys are trying to get up close enough. It looks like they're trying to do some tunneling.
Minecraft strategy.
Yeah, it'll work.
Why didn't I think of that?
So you got the archers raining down on them, but they've got the wood pulled over.
Okay. Too big. Well, everything looks okay over here so far. They haven't broken through anything. So, seems like we're doing pretty good. At least they are.
Everything's just holding.
Hmm?
Everything's just holding.
No, I mean, they're still trying to get through, but they haven't broken through.
All right, let me know if you need a hand. I'll run over there as quickly as I can.
Yep.
Okay.
Elsa's gonna see if she can get any closer.
Yeah, you can move down the wall to towards whichever side of commotion you're interested in.
A little of all of it.
Okay.
Just to see how everything is actually truly going, Gives
Uh,
her a better idea if something were to go.
So yeah, you get to one of the spots where they're kind of attacking the wall, and you're left with the impression that this is not really an all-out attack. They're being a little too cautious to, take a wall.
It might be just...
some of them are trying to, archers are trying to shoot up, but that's not working too well. They have some small catapults that, every now and then they'll get close enough to the top of the wall that, you'll see some people duck. None of those shots have come over the wall, and they're not really doing any significant damage to the wall. They're much smaller than the ones that y'all had smashed up, the ship.
It could be a ploy.
Possibly.
And she'll say that. She's like, it could be a ploy.
As you get closer to the one setting up kind of the almost pavilion, I guess we'll call it. I'm sure there's an actual term for it if you're into historical warfare.
Why is my phone blowing up?
But that one, there seems to be some serious effort in keeping that thing covered, or keeping the workers covered while they get up under there.
Where did we put the cure?
Well, somewhere in the back of the palace.
Okay.
I mean, literally, they had it in some storage space because that's where Doc was, and then he had to come get to.
Sure.
It's being stored about down in a kind of an underground secure area. Well, they thought the entire palace was secure, but where they set up
more
the
or less.
timers.
So yeah, more or less. I was gonna look at Doc and be like, Doc, do you remember where the Alzheimer's are?
Yes. Last I checked, they were put in a storeroom back at the palace.
Well, they thought this room was safe. Would anyone like to join me to double check the Alzheimer's?
No, could be fun.
She's like halfway walking out the door as she asks.
Oh, we're going already. Okay, whee!
All right, so I'm assuming Doc's going just to show him where that's at.
Yes.
Io is going. Captain, are you going with him, or are you hanging around with the king?
He'll stay with the king.
Okay.
Keep an eye on them.
So Doc, you walk him back to where the Alzheimer's were. They've got guards on the door that kind of come to attention when they see you. They immediately recognize who you are and reach over and open the door for you. As you walk in, you've got some of the medical staff there, along with a few, palace servants. And they're sorting out batches to ship to the hospital and to send to the other places around the city, which they were already doing some of the day before. One of the doctors walks over to greet you. Hi, Doc. Good to see you again. And your friends as well. He shakes hands.
Pleasure's mine. Tell me, how comes along the progress of getting everything sorted?
The enzymes seem to be functioning just fine. Of course, we're following the instructions you gave us. We've been shipping the cure out to the surrounding hospitals first, and then kind of out into neighborhoods, for people that could not afford to go into the hospital, or were having minor enough cases that they were left at home.
Understood.
Everybody, it's being made available to everybody in the city.
Have there been any troubles with the convoys?
The first one or two kind of got swamped by people, just begging for it. But we've shipped out enough now that the crowds are realizing, okay, there's when we say there's enough to go around, we mean there's enough to go around. So no, nothing too major.
When you say there's enough to go around, do you mean just for the kingdom, or do you mean for the planet?
Well, we're telling the city that there's enough to go around for the city, so. Yes, we have we intentionally brought in enough that we should be able to export it.
I mean, that stops happening. It's pointing out towards where there's a siege going on miles out.
Incredibly dumb that that we were intending to share the cure, and then they did this.
Did they know you were intending to share the cure?
I don't see how they could have known anything about us sending anybody out for a cure in time to have gathered this army.
Has there been any strife between the nations before that would result in this kind of action?
Well, nations are always going to be. There's always going to be some strife, but Blonde Fellas, one of the kings was out there. He's always been a troublemaker, and he's conquered a few other city-states.
Again, Doc will bring up, since Io wasn't around to hear it. Again, hypothesis. Potential old cargo. It could be causing strife.
I don't see what he would benefit. Go on.
The doctor had stopped and looked. The other lords out there, Vansil, we had a little conflict with a while back. Some disputed forest land, nothing. There was a couple of battles he kind of lost. There was a negotiated peace.
But nobody within the kingdom who would seek to, I don't know, cause a strife. As he's speaking,
King Groex is pretty secure on his throne. The advantage of being an only child and inheriting a throne.
As he's speaking, I'm activating Truth Sense.
All right, how's that work?
Is it? So I roll for it, and it is. So it isn't. It affects. It senses whether a person believes what they are saying is true.
Okay. It doesn't tell you if they're factually accurate or not.
Right. It just tells me if they think they're telling the truth.
All
right.
Yeah. So far, he seems to be pretty confident. Of course, he's a doctor, not involved in politics, so But he mentions the other two kings out there, haven't really ever come into conflict. Actually, all of them except Phyllis were, are members of the Bengarian League, which is just an agreement a bunch of the city-states have to band together in defense. If some outside force comes in to invade. It's a loose, kind of a loose federation.
Loose confederation of city-states?
Yeah, just, like I said, it's a self-defense.
Where have I heard that before?
The doctor doesn't know. But yeah, he said things have been going well. They think they've got an accurate count of how much of the medicine was stolen last night.
So there has been medicine being stolen.
Oh, yes. Had you not been told?
That's what I asked.
No.
My
That's
apologies.
what I was asking. Or that's why we're here in the first place.
Oh, yes. Yes, apparently they came in after let's see. This is not one of the doctors that was there, when you ran, he's like the next shift or whatever. But yes, apparently when you and the doctors, and the guards in the room, ran to assist the king, apparently the Trokah came in and took some medicine. The servants that had been working just sort of cowered in the back. I mean, obviously they're not going to attack assassins. But they simply came in and loaded up their packs with as much as they could carry and ran out. A couple of 100 doses, nothing substantial or really impactful. Basically it's 5 people and what 5 people could carry in, leather pouches. They took it out of the crate we had already opened. They didn't try to open any other crates or anything. They didn't do anything to the Alzheimer's.
Interesting. From rumor among the guard, possibility, or at least the attack was said to be done because cure was being withheld. Still, odd how they already had this lined up, and yet you didn't even have the cure in hand till at least we arrived about a day
That is
ago.
odd. Though I suppose if they thought we had a cure, they'd have been looking for it.
Again, hypothesis.
Things are lining up a little too well for my taste.
Well, I simply hope they don't come back. Everyone's already on edge, knowing they could step out of any shadow.
Unfortunately, with simple rumor, fear also quells the fact to which this was already planned, just needed an excuse.
That's how many folks here in the palace have been talking about it.
Well, again, I've been tending to the king for most of the morning, if not here the past little while. He should hopefully wake soon, if not by the end of day.
Oh, excellent. I certainly hope he wakes today. Otherwise, rumors will begin spreading in the city. He kind of glances over the servants. Some people can't help but pass around juicy gossip.
Is the way of civilizations.
Is there any way to speed up his waking up? Or did we already throw him in the back to tank, or did we not offer that at all?
I don't think any of us thought about it.
Yeah, we didn't offer it as far as I know.
Just gently yeet the king into the back to tank.
I mean, to be fair, if we're bringing it up, after hearing that, Doc will kind of stop for a moment. You might see a few pieces light up as he's trying to process. If speed is what is required, there is a solution we can offer. We have advanced healing on the ship. If you wish, we can use it for the king.
Oh,
yes. We have to sneak the king into the ship so that no one sees him in his fallen state. It's a great idea.
Stuff him in a box.
Just can't help but think that I've seen this somewhere before.
Correction. We can make
the
it
doctor's
look
like, how
like
many attempted assassinations have you in prison for?
None that I can currently think of. However,
more than you would think.
a simple solution could be achieved. As you said, we could technically put them in a box, make them look like cargo, and simply have a loader put them on the ship.
That sounds a bit
But-
undignified, but you would have to check with the Queen about this, though.
Of course, if you wish, I shall go contact her now.
I'll go with you.
Io following, undignified. I mean, he's already unconscious on a bed.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
we
but
cut
his,
back to
but
the
his people don't know that.
we cut back to said bed. Captain, you're standing around with some of the guard. Doc and that group have been gone for 15, 30 minutes at this point. When you see one of the guards kind of start, and the king is stirring a little bit on the bed.
Okay.
Wakes up, looks down at all the bandage, where he's all bandaged up. He sees you, Captain. Where's my wife?
Dealing with a few things, as far as I can tell.
Oh, so she was unharmed?
Well, she was poisoned, but unharmed, yes.
Who attacked us?
Some assassins. I never did get their name.
One of the guards kind of leans out. They were Trokah, sire.
Yes, them.
I honestly did not realize they still existed.
Well, now we know they do.
I'm sorry. Her cat is having a field day.
Yes, hi. Yes, hello, hi. Yes, hi, hello, hi.
I exist. Pay attention to me, Mom. Mom.
Mother, mommy.
Again, I'm sorry. It's just I'm sitting there. I'm just watching that tail, just almost like a nine-tails, just slapping.
Mom!
Yeah.
Yes, Trokah.
Yes.
Didn't know they existed.
Or didn't know that he said didn't know they still existed.
Well, they do.
Well, that's lovely. That's just what we needed.
Apparently, the army's attacking your walls, and I am half tempted to just take my ship and go burn the lot of them down.
If it comes to that, I might very well let you. Though I would like to try negotiation. 3 of the kings out there are supposed to be my allies. Well, 2 of them are supposed to truly be my allies. 1 of them I've had some conflict with, and the others
A dick.
a power-hungry warmonger. So,
So no one would care if I blew his head off.
No one in this room. Though to be fair, they might just be in a panic about the plague. Though they could not have assembled this army in time to get here. just from the time that I first spoke to you until which means rumors that we had some sort of cure must have already been circulating. I mean, it's true the plague has hit us much more lightly than anywhere else, but
Yeah.
he talks to you for a couple more minutes, and he just kind of drifts back. He's like, he kind of drifts back off to sleep. As soon as he was moving, one of the guards steps out of the room.
Yeah.
And a few minutes later, the queen comes in.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of rushing. I heard he was awake.
For a little while.
Was he lucid? Did he seem to be clear-headed?
Yeah, he seemed fine. She sits down next to him. Doc, you and that crew have been one of the guards that led you. You want to talk to the queen, so one of them kind of led you to like the main. It's kind of a conference hall / office sort of setup. But when you get there, they're told, the queen got a guard came in to tell the queen that the king had awoken. So she left to see him. So the guard turns you around and starts, leading you back to the king's quarters.
If only the captain had thought to open comms. This would have made life easier.
Yeah.
It could have been just recently happened.
But y'all get back to the room. The queen's sitting there talking to the captain.
Did he float in and out of consciousness within the span of like 5 minutes?
As you all get in there and start talking, he kind of rouses back up again.
Your Majesty, good to see you awake and moving.
Yes, thank you, Doc. My understanding is that I owe waking up to you.
As the king is saying this, Doc comes back over with probably some fresh wraps and just starts snipping and tending. Yes, sir. I've been making sure to tend to you as often as I can.
The queen's got him by the hand. She's patting his hand. Oh yes, our doctors have been very impressed with Doc's expertise.
He does seem to have been born to do that, or made to. Literally.
Yeah.
Again,
Tornado
the
watch.
beauty behind my design. I sadly do not tire, and I do not need to rest, so I can tend to you to my very best.
We really should have
find out who put the.
The king looks
chip in this
over
fucking
his life.
robot.
We really should have bought a couple of those.
More trouble than it's worth.
She just shook her head. We emptied the treasure as it was.
If I may, Ozen steps up.
Yes.
A question. Is your intent when you have gotten everybody here with a cure to this plague Is your intent to spread it out to the other kingdoms? And I do activate truth sense again.
For free.
Yes, we were absolutely intending to export what we didn't need. You know, my own people come first, of course. Here in the city and the surrounding farmland or the surrounding area that we control. But yes, we had you bring back plenty for us and the enzymers to make more.
She's just nodding along to that. Okay.
And he's being legit.
Yeah.
Now he does say export, not give away. Difference there.
Export meaning sell?
Well, yes, we have to recoup our costs.
There
Dear
it
Oath.
is.
Dear Ozen,
Oh.
keep in mind we were not the cheapest thing to hire, especially to get this large amount of medicine within a short time.
People are dying.
It happens in the core worlds too.
All the time.
And as Doc is continuing to patch up, remember, reproduction is a thing. Some species is faster than others.
What does that mean?
The rate of births can outdo the weight of death.
Depending on the
I'm not
species.
touching that one.
Correction, some species are slower to produce. And as he's continuing to do this, luckily, they seem to be about an average fertility rate, so they should have no trouble.
Was there any reason that the armies would have been marching against you before this?
Blonde Fellas, it wouldn't surprise me. He has conquered some other cities. Though we're far enough away from where he controls that it would have been an overreach for him to attack us on his own.
Like especially with there being an illness already, that they would go to the trouble of gathering such a force.
Mm-hmm.
And then stealing. No one told us they stole some of the...
Excuse me.
We were
the king is
informed
also
by
like,
fellow
what?
doctors.
Oh,
Some of the cures, not the enzymers or anything like that.
Oh, the queen knots. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. In the excitement, it didn't occur to me. They got away with somewhere between 100 and 200 doses. Like individual doses. So not a substantial amount of.
Did the doctor say like 500 doses?
No, the doctor.
No. I thought
it
he
was
said
Oh,
between
five guys. Five guys.
It was five guys.
Okay.
Guy.
That's where I was
fi-
getting the 5 guys.
Yeah, between 5 assassins and what they could carry, they took that. So they roughly took about 1 to 200 in total.
I mean, if it was 5 guys, they probably tossed more in the bag for later, but...
Yep. More
Yeah,
than
now
you need. More than you
now
can
I'm-
even
now I'm in
stand.
the mood for 5 guys.
You're welcome.
Well, I haven't had 5 guys
Thank
in quite
you.
some time.
Hey, Scully, do you want attention now?
Probably.
Mm-mm-mm.
We
Um,
need another distracting cat. But anyway,
Come on, baby.
Probably because the closest 5 guys is next to a Moe's. And if I got to choose between
I
5 guys or
know.
Moe's, I'm usually going to do Moe's.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
that's fair. They're cheaper.
Gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to what you're getting, they're cheaper.
Okay, I got cat butt on camera. Let me move camera.
Yeah, we hate to get demonetized.
So... I'm just trying to figure out why they would... If they know that... Are they aware that you're going to be exporting it?
I don't know how they were aware that we had access to any, that we were trying to get access
I mean,
to.
they went right to it, apparently, after the assassination attempt.
Someone definitely knew where it was.
Who all knew where the stuff was being stored?
Virtually anyone in the palace would have known. You just can't keep that sort of thing a secret with servants running around.
That narrows it down a whole lot now.
But,
And did the... I was gonna stop talking now because
There is a bigger game here than any of these 3 or 4 or however many kingdoms are at your literal doorstep. Something bigger is at play. I do not know what it is. It is
Yes.
definitely putting me on edge.
Yes, and if I have a hard... Fellas, it wouldn't shock me that he would do something as dishonorable as hiring the Trokah.
may I ask an insensitive question?
But the rest of them out there, that doesn't seem their speed. Oh, yes, please. Ask whatever you
If the
wish.
assassination attempt had succeeded, who would have succeeded you?
My closest living relative is a cousin, an older cousin of mine, who's a general.
In your army?
Yes, he's manning the. He's leading the defenses on the walls as we speak.
Just trying to figure out why specifically they again, not to be insensitive, but they went after you with a bit of a fervor.
Yeah, well, if I die, it would pass to my wife. Though, with her right there with me, I assume if they killed me, they'd have killed her next. If we are eliminated, then it passes to my cousin.
Unfortunately, she was poisoned along with you as well, so therefore it wouldn't have been long before the poison could have gotten to her.
But if they split their forces, both could have been taken. I don't know. I apologize. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Oh, quite
We're
all
all
right.
trying to figure this out.
While she's
Thank you.
saying that, what's the queen's looking like? She's thinking it's the queen just because
Mm.
that feels a bit too convenient that it was just him getting stabbed.
Yeah, she just, she's sitting there part of the conversation,
Okay.
Game of Thrones. They get everybody. They don't care.
They just red wedding this.
Ooh. Random question.
Mm-hmm.
May I roll a medical check to possibly notice if anyone's blood pressure or anything that would indicate stress is showing? Out of
I don't know
curiosity?
if you can scan for that sort of thing at range.
At range? Okay.
I think you'd have to actually physically touch them to kind of do that.
Okay. In my head, I thought that would be fantastic. Just be able to be reading people's life signs in the room, and then would be like, wait, someone's life signs a little off. What's up? Forgive me.
Didn't.
That's the thought that the player was just going with.
Close it in a year to the stress is.
Now, if you wanted to roll perception to try and look for physical ticks, like, is somebody nervous as we're talking about succession, or
I'll get in on that.
I mean, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Get in on that as well.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm not there though, so it's fine. Roll good for me, guys.
You can roll half a dice.
Okay, so just straight perception?
Let's
Yes.
see. Bargain, command, con, gambling, hide and seek, search. Yeah, just perception.
Yep.
I don't see a skill that specifically go into this. No, Doc don't notice nothing.
Hey, that's a pretty good roll.
But I was like, I don't. Maybe Io does.
I got a 13.
Okay.
I got a 21.
Just Ozen doing Ozen things. That's fine.
I don't know, and just eyeballing people.
All right, so Doc and the captain, you're not really picking up anything.
Mm-hmm.
nothing seems odd. Io, well, you and Ozen for that matter. The queen just seems to be relieved that her husband's awake.
Okay.
She's relieved and she's happy, and that seems to be legitimately her emotion.
Also, had truth sense up this whole time, so that's also like
Well, that means if she says something to you.
Yeah, for sure.
When he mentions his cousin would inherit, neither one of them,
They don't respond in a way that's like, ooh,
like they're suspicious of him or anything.
Sure.
He mentioned the cousin was older, so
Well, as Doc is probably finishing doing new dressings on the king, he would just kind of interject of the simple fact, sadly, someone benefits from your death. We do not know who, but unfortunately, they thought this would be the opportune time. But luckily we are here to put a wrench in that so-called operation.
He seems to follow most of that, though he may not be sure what a wrench is. But he gets what you're saying. But he was like, if Fellas or one of the other kings out there, if they hired the Trokah, it may have been more an attempt to disorganize the defense. I'm sure they would have gone after my cousin too, but the way he's been moving around on the wall, it'd be harder for them to keep track of him than, they know they can almost always come to the palace and I'd be here. So
is there no way for you to parlay with these other kings, royalty?
We parlayed when they first arrived. Well, we sent messengers back and forth. And all I could do was tell them that I didn't have a cure, that I had contacted off-worlders and was attempting to procure something. But they didn't seem to believe me. They had what they claimed were documents in my handwriting.
Did you get to see them?
No, they would not send them in with the messengers. They allowed one of the messengers to look at it, and he said it resembled my handwriting. He wasn't an expert in such things, though.
I think this could all just be resolved if you just could take 5 minutes with one or two or even the rest of the kings. Just be like, hey, I have the cure. When I'm done dosing it out to my people here, you all are going to get it. You guys can negotiate whatever exchange you want to do with it at that point. But as long as the talk is there, right?
I mean, we could also be there while the talk is going on, just be like, yeah, this is what happened. We could show logs maybe of where we traveled and when we traveled to show that it wasn't even on planet until we landed.
That might work. I know Dine and Dronhaus are reasonable men. We've never had any sort of major conflict. Some trade disputes, whatever. Nothing that came to violence.
Not messengers though. You all, no representatives, just you and your ilk.
Well, we would send messengers to set that up, but
yes,
there are procedures for setting up something like that.
If you need us in the room, I'm sure they'll also have their own champions.
Oh, well, personal guards, yes. But I'm not going to be able to do that from the bed.
Can you stand?
Doc, you would not recommend
Box
you try to
idea.
stand right now.
The box idea is still on the table.
Again, Doc would turn to Ozen. That is highly not recommended. He would at least need some time to rest. However, and he'll turn to the captain, there is one potential offer we can give them in order to increase his recovery time.
We'd have to replace that.
Agreed. But again,
Not
that is of
cheap.
our own volition.
Is a back to tank only good for one use?
Not
The tank is
but the
the
back
back
itself.
Okay.
That shit's pricey.
Mm-hmm. Extremely so.
It's like only grown from like certain types of plants and then refined on like 1 or 2 companies.
Double.
Yay,
Because
Space Monopoly.
I was about to say because Monopoly easily exists in the future.
You know it.
They have time to refine it. But anyway,
Star Wars is the past. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, it's
Just
about
so we don't get
Future
comments.
past.
It is about $3,000. Well, it's $3,000 to get a tank. Fully heals the patient on successful very easy medicine, heroic first aid rolls. Healing time is 1d hours for wounded patient, 4d hours for incapacitated, and 1d days for mortally wounded. If the roll fails, patient's injury worsens 2 levels.
Alright, he would currently be considered probably incapacitated.
So just a few hours.
Yeah, 40 hours. Well, if it needs to be done immediately, then I suppose we could use the tank.
More than likely, the sooner the better, so that we can set up a parlance.
If we'll see how long it takes for them to finish contemplating their life choices.
again, we can keep this in reserve. But if the king wishes to go ahead and set up a meeting, that would be most beneficial, because then it would only take probably, and the doc would kind of look at him, in your current condition, probably only a few hours, to be fully healed and able to walk again as if nothing ever happened.
24 hours at most.
Made sure it won't do anything weird with like his metabolism or anything. I know Rhodians have an issue with it.
I will happily check my archives for...
Yeah, you've got plenty of blood samples of his. And you had to examine several of his people to make sure the medicines y'all were getting were going to work. So you are familiar with his species at this point. And yeah, Bacta should work just fine with him.
You'll see his eyes and mouth kind of light up for a little bit. Thought process complete. He'd be perfectly fine.
Well, you are.
So yeah, him and the queen
There's
are all
one-
for this.
There's one other issue is your people seeing you in your current state might be a little undignified.
And spread rumors.
So now the question becomes, my liege, do you wish to do this in a discreet manner, or do you care if you are just casually carried?
A box.
In a box.
He gets a look on him and the queen both get a look on their face in a box. No, we'll use the he barks one of the guards. Go talk to the chamberlain. Get him to prepare the. And the word he says doesn't really translate. He doesn't. The word he uses isn't in basic.
Sorry, what?
It's a decorative chair with poles that people carry.
Oh, like a leader.
Leader.
Ah, yes. They've been out of fashion for quite some time, but we still have one in storage. It will be it will be obvious that I'm injured, but I will be sitting up and able to respond to people, which will, will quell any rumors of my death or that I'm on death's door.
And again, may I suggest, if you're truly wishing to negotiate peace, getting a messenger ASAP.
Yes, I will send out an envoy to start the negotiations. For starting the negotiations. So they're getting that ready. Back out on the wall. As Keltzer and BL have been out there, they've set up that little lean-to thing. They've shield walled a bunch of workers in there. And as you've been standing there watching, they've started setting up like another one next to it. Say 15 or 20 yards or meters, over from where the first one was. Keltzer's training probably hasn't taught her a whole lot about,
medieval warfare,
Bronze Age siege warfare, but you get the impression they're trying to tunnel under the wall.
Okay.
Just throw a thermal detonator down the hole.
Maybe to get, maybe to get troops under there, or I guess they could collapse the tunnel and try to collapse the wall.
She will definitely let them know, though, what she thinks is happening.
Okay.
And then she'll ask, is there any way to get underneath the wall from underground?
Most of the soldiers next to you have no idea what you're saying. But there is an older fella that's been walking around rattling off orders. That when he hears you start talking, he steps over to you. He's like, "Oh yeah, they're clearly tunneling under, probably to collapse the wall."
Yeah.
Because there's a gentler slope up to the wall here, so this would be a good spot to like rush up into the place. He's got some people that are starting some counter tunneling.
Okay.
counter tunneling.
It's a thing. I forget exactly how it works.
Oh yeah, no. Basically, you have another team of sappers that are trying to find the team themselves to kind of stop them from doing what they're doing. It's a very weird.
I don't know the
tactic.
mechanics of how it works, but I know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I kind of understand how you can like seal off dirt passages for people to not be able to tunnel anymore, but it sounds weird to call it a counter tunneler.
I mean, you're basically doing the same thing. You're tunneling against them, so you're counter tunneling the tunnelers.
But you're being careful to go under the wall in such a way as to not weaken the wall.
Yeah. Okay.
Another thing they would do is just have trenches dug out in front of the wall, so tunnelers would end up in the trenches, and then then you arrow them to death. And you have seen them try to shoot some fire arrows down on that structure. Actually, did Keltzer ever see the red goop?
Probably. Maybe when she was walking through,
On the way back to the ship.
Or at least to get to the wall, Keltzer would have probably seen it.
Io did mention that she called it over the radio to advise people not to walk through it.
Okay. Well, the little lean-tos, the top of them seem to have that red goop on him. So most of those arrows plop down in the goop and are extinguished when they've been trying to fire arrows.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fire repellent.
Well, it's very moist.
Ha.
Think of it as having almost like the consistency of ketchup.
Tactical ketchup.
where it's almost a solid.
But not quite.
Right. With the exception this stuff stays moist a lot.
Practical ketchup.
Tactical ketchup.
Deploy the tactical ketchup.
It's like that homemade slime with like
Oobleck.
Elmer's glue and
Yeah.
Yep, you can
Except that
drop
shit
something
is
on it.
flammable.
You can drop something on it, and it'll hit and stop, and then it'll sink in.
I will say the solution with Elmer's glue is classically flammable.
uh,
Don't ask how I know.
Oh, I can take a guess by the statement.
I'm gonna imagine though.
You're welcome to tell us after session how that went.
It's like homemade napalm.
It's the first right before the test was hold this.
Hold my beer.
Hey y'all, watch
Hold my
this.
beer.
Oh.
Um,
God. Now that you said that that's pretty much how it acts, like when something's dropped in it and it just sits, I'm just like, oh god, if a thermal just happened to just hit that right, just
Oh look, it's stuck to the
slime
roof.
bomb.
it stuck to the roof.
Mhm.
Crap!
Sticky grenades.
Perfect time for sticky grenades.
Granada!
But
But anyway,
Is there ever
So-
not a perfect time for sticky grenades?
I mean,
best item in
no.
Halo.
Mm-hmm.
look, that's the best time to get revenge death. It's like, well, I'm gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Best use for them if you don't get them on the run.
Um,
Hmm.
they get the leader there, and I'm just like, that's
Does it have any kind of like Pope Mobile
structure.
helm?
No, it's just a fancy chair with like gold trim and stuff, and then in the royal colors.
It's a walking target.
Yeah, it is. But it will get us from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Correction. These are generally used for festive measure, so the fact of which it looks, I believe the term is gaudy, is understandable.
He's like, yeah, they've been out of fashion for a while. In the early days of the city, the rulers just anywhere they went, they were carried around like this. And then it slowly became only for ceremonial things, and this will be the first time I've ever used it, and I don't think my father ever used it but once. And that was, when he was old.
How heavy is the king?
Generally speaking, these guys are a little bit lighter than a humanoid, than a human of a similar size.
No.
And out on the wall, Kelcher, the fellow you're talking to is General Graffin.
Raffin.
Graffin, Grafan.
Rafan.
But and as you're talking, he brings up that he understands that you and your crew are largely responsible for the king still being alive.
Mm-hmm.
He thanks you for that. He's known the king since he was a boy.
He says you're welcome. Just trying not to have people die needlessly, and he's a figure here, so
Kelter, give me a perception roll.
perception is a D.
Would you like me to have BL-17 make one as well?
Oh yeah, he is there, isn't he?
Yep, he is.
What kind of optics does he have?
He has human range.
Okay.
15.
Snake eyes 2.
Oh Jesus.
Don't siege. He's busy looking out over the wall. Ah, glorious battle.
Yeah.
It would, like
I
holding
was-
up a blaster, like it would be so easy.
I could snipe all of them from here. I could end this right now.
Yeah, you could.
There's like 40 or 50,000 targets out there.
I could end this
Have to
right now.
aim.
Target rich environment.
What happens when you give him a heavy repeating blaster? Sasha. Ching, ching.
All right, Kilser, what did you roll?
I rolled a 15.
Someone moves it. Who touched my gun? You joke. I'm gonna find that droid a heavy repeating blaster eventually.
Dear God.
So anyway, you're sitting there talking to the general, and he's giving you the layout of how the defenses are,
Does he get
the
shot back?
they managed to get messengers out to the surrounding area to so the militias will be forming up. He's if they can stop these guys from their tunneling, he's confident the city will hold. Depending on how long the siege lasts, that's at least one thing that the plague will be helping him. Sieges are notorious for suffering from plague anyway.
Yeah.
But that's going to make them desperate enough to try to act quickly. He's considering putting together a force to kind of go out and try to wreck that stuff and get back in.
Yeah.
But they have they've intentionally positioned it well away from the gates. And as he's talking, troops are moving back and forth. Servants are running with bundles of arrows to resupply. Soldiers are moving around. Messengers are running back and forth. Occasionally while you're talking, a messenger runs up, says something to him in the native, in the local language. And he'll give a quick response, and that guy will run back off. You just do spot, there's a, fella in typical, the servant's garb, got a bundle of arrows in one hand, and he's running. And you just do spot him reach back as he gets close to the general and start sliding a knife out.
See.
Get down, Mr. General.
No. I do have a knife.
Knife fight on the city wall.
Gonna stab him before the other guy can stab him.
Basically, yeah, that's what she's gonna do.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
When I say that, I mean you're stabbing the guy that's pulling the knife out, not the general,
Yeah.
right?
No, she's stabbing the guy that's pulling the knife out that's probably going to stab the general.
Okay.
That is what she's doing.
Really, he's just a big fan of the general, wanted the general to sign his knife, and now he's going to get stabbed.
Good.
As he deserves.
It's wartime. You can't do that.
Can't be just pulling out knives willy-nilly.
You gotta flip it and hand it by the butt.
All right, and what is your deck? What is Kelter's deck?
Dex is 4D.
Okay, so yeah, you would go before this guy. He is clearly about to stab, or, yeah. Your instincts are telling you he's about to stab the general.
Somebody's getting a bit stab happy.
22.
All right, so 22. He's going to try to dodge.
Would he notice? I noticed that he's trying to stab the general.
Well, he gets the option to dodge when you come at him with the knife. He can choose to
Gotcha.
actively dodge. Now, well, should he, if he successfully dodges that, or regardless of how it goes, unless you kill him outright, it doesn't mean he'll have a dice less for his action. Does he not have melee parry? Huh. So yeah, dodge it is.
This be dex.
Or no, it would have to be melee parry because dodge is not close combat. So yeah, so it'd just be his straight dex. So,
Do those work like stat blocks in 5e where it just tells you the relevant stats that they have a bonus in?
yes,
Okay.
at least
that would be just dex.
the type of I've got for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he got a 12. And what did Kelsey
5.
get?
Kelser still hits.
Yeah,
I
you-
got a 22.
So yeah, that'd be like a 17, 16 or 17 total. Because the knife only requires a 5 on the die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and roll your damage.
And this is that thing where it prevents him from making that attack, right?
Does anybody know what the dice is for knife? Because since I can only have 3 weapons, I couldn't add my knife damage to that.
A knife does strength plus 1. So your strength dice plus 1.
Plus an extra dice.
No,
Right.
plus 1. Plus a 1.
Okay.
The reason why mine has an extra dice
So-
plus 2 is because it's a vibra dagger.
So then I would do 4 dice because my strength is a 3d plus 2. So
No,
that would have been a 24.
You would roll just the dice. Oh, wait. You got
3
extra
plus
pips on your...
2.
My strength is a 3d plus 2, so my 22 would have actually been a 24. I forgot about the plus 2.
But 3d plus 2, and then it's adding a 1 on the knife. Does that make it flat 4d?
I mean, that's how
I
the
have
dice
no
do.
idea. It's how you do it. It's how you do it when you're building up dice with your experience. I'm not sure that's how it does with weapons.
Yeah, can we definitely find out before I...
Which way would you rather do it, Rappy?
I mean, I don't mind doing the 4D.
I mean, whichever way you want to do it that way this time.
And then we'll
figure it
figure out for next time.
Yes, and then I'll try to figure out, how it's actually supposed to work.
New game, who dis, guys?
Yeah.
She crunchy.
16.
All right, 16. He rolls his strength to resist. He got a 9.
Oh, he hurty.
Yeah, but at least he didn't fail by a double. So he is wounded, which is -1 dice from his actions.
In an action, so that's another dice.
Right. So now he is going to try to stab the general. Oh, he's very good with his knife. But -1 dice for multiple action, -1 dice for being wounded. Five, 10, 14. Alright, so he got a 14 on his dice. He needed a 5. Somebody roll me.
Got it.
Melee parry. Roll me 5 dice for the general.
Oh, jeez. Got it. 16.
16, so that's a 21 total. The guy would need to have hit him.
Yep.
So yeah, this guy runs up, starts pulling his knife. Keltzer stabs him, but he still lunges at the general, who, saw Keltzer, attack. So he manages to turn around and kind of with the back of a gauntlet, or kind of he's got kind of a bracer on. He manages to kind of slap the dagger to one side. Somebody roll me 6d plus 2 for the general.
Okay.
As he pulls his own weapon to
Add
return
another
the favor.
dice. I just have 12 dice on me.
Hey.
Let's see. 6, 12, 18, 25 total.
All right.
Plus whatever. 25 plus whatever his bonus was after that.
All right. So 25. This guy's going to dodge again. These dice are not great. All right, so he takes a hit. Somebody roll me 3 dice, 3d plus 2 for the general strength, or for his damage.
10. No, 12.
Well, Doc also rolled, so
Oh.
Doc's I think rolled first, so he got a 14.
Okay, that works too. Ignore me!
Plus whatever bonuses, because I didn't add the bonuses. I just
That's
used
16.
it 3D. So yeah.
Ignore the man
So,
hiding
14.
behind
So that'd be
the
14
curtain.
plus 2, so that's 16. Versus this guy's strength. And he got 15. So that's
Wonder.
another wound, which bumps him up to incapacitated. So he's now at negative 2 dice. And we're back around to Keltzer. At this point, you think this guy's about to run.
Okay.
She will stab him to make sure to stop him from running.
Can the droid do anything?
Oh yeah, the droid.
Oh, I
he's
forgot
there.
all about the droid.
Again.
So we'll wait.
He would probably shoot, honestly.
He just kind of looks over. Oh, a knife fight. I brought a gun to this knife fight. Boom.
Why are we using knives? This is so primitive.
He was specifically told to take his gun, so I assume by that command he was told use the gun.
Well, I also have knives, but I've also got this gun.
Yeah.
Knives,
And he
gun,
had-
knives, gun.
He had the gun armed, so yeah, I'll roll for blaster.
All right, roll it.
Didn't he get his ass kicked last time he used his knives?
He did,
He
yeah.
doesn't talk
Yeah.
about that.
Sense of pride and all that.
18.
All right, 18. He is dodging. Oh, wait, his dodge is a lot higher. Oh, wait, but he's lost.
2 dice. Wait, no.
2
multiple
dice because
actions.
he's wounded
lost
now.
4 dice.
Yeah.
Multiple actions. He's
Mhm.
one from a multiple action. This is the 3rd dodge he's made, so that's 2 dodges before this. So he's like minus 5 dice. I rolled too many.
2. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Jesus.
All right, he got
The
a,
action econ- the
he got a
action
3,
economy
so
is-
add 3 to the
3 to the DC of like 5 because you're at like close range.
Probably short range.
Mhm.
Because he was standing right at the wall looking over. And Keltzer had stepped over and talked to the general.
Yeah.
Good
You know,
lord.
close enough that he realizes what's going on, and the soldiers are starting to make a commotion.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 plus 3. So you need a 13 to hit him. What'd you get?
18.
All right. Roll damage for the blaster.
20.
He got a 9.
Jesus.
So that doubled it, which would have incapacitated him if he was fresh. So
He's
yeah,
not.
that's yes, he is. Yes, he is
He's
not.
Very dead.
So that bumps him to mortal wounded, and I guess whatever comes after mortally wounded,
Probably dead.
probably. Especially since he pitches off the back of the wall and falls down into the courtyard.
Does he do the scream though?
We have Mortal Wilhelm scream.
You know,
For copyright reasons,
sure.
no.
The Wilhelm scream is public domain.
Oh, it is.
Oh hell yeah!
I believe
Yeah.
so.
The Wilhelm.
That's
Fantastic.
why
Wilhelm
everybody
scream
uses it, because it's free.
Yeah, it's public domain.
Fantastic.
I'm only imagining the reaction of the primitives to a blaster going off. And I just rolled the damage for a standard Blast Techie 11, which is a standard stormtrooper rifle, basically.
Wilhelm, I think I said time.
Yeah.
Wilhelm, yeah.
Yes, stock sound effect has been used since 1951 in the film Distant Drums. The scream is usually used when someone is shot, falls from a great height, or is thrown from an explosion, so it is appropriate to use here.
It's 2 of those 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, the person who made that scream is long dead at this point.
I mean, they fell off something. Of course.
After being shot and apparently exploded shortly thereafter. Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
Let's see. Now y'all got me looking up who actually did the Wilhelm scream.
Tangent.
Tangent.
Yep.
Yay.
We need a tangent emoji for the Discord.
The scream is believed to be voiced by actor Sheb Woolley.
Gonna go recommend that right now
Yes.
while we're in session.
Who apparently lived long enough to do voice work on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Nice. Who was he on Foster's?
I don't know. It just says known for.
I'm gonna find an internet database.
Yeah. You look it up and break in and let us know. 'Cause this is way on a tangent, but I want to know this.
What was the guy's name again?
Shit. Wait, hang on. I'll put it in the.
Thank you.
All right.
What a weird name.
Apparently he also did the novelty song Purple People in 1958.
I love that song.
Yeah.
This guy's been around apparently.
Mm-hmm.
There's a beautiful thing about voice acting.
Oh, it was used in a scene from Star Wars when Luke shoots shoots a stormtrooper off the ledge.
Oh, then we're good. We're within fair use.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's
Not listing him anywhere on there. Oh well.
yeah. We'll have to do more research later, but for now,
Saying he died in 65.
okay. Somebody missed it.
Oh wait. Okay, wait. 2000. Wait. Never mind. Something else was 65. Maybe active between 65.
Oh okay.
I'll continue on. I'll
we're
do this.
getting way off. Anyway, guy falls to his death, screaming. BL-17, you hear kind of a laugh from him. That's how these fights are supposed to go. The general looks over at you, Kelter. Well, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And he kneels down. Well, the guy dropped his knife. He kneels down and kind of picks the knife up by the handle. And he's examining the blade, and there's some kind of substance on the blade. Yep, undoubtedly poisoned. And he walks over to a brazier where some of the guys were shooting the fire arrows, they're lighting arrows, and he just kind of drops the knife in there.
Explosion.
Yes, that's it. It wasn't poison, it was an explosive.
I'm gonna stab him, then ignite him.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, hey, it could have a little bit of nitroglycerin. Just needs a good enough shot.
Mm-hmm.
Do we hear the blaster from where we are?
No, blasters aren't that loud.
Okay.
This isn't the palace wall, this is the city wall.
Gotcha. Okay, that's different.
Yeah, the city is under siege, not just the palace. Though Keltzer may radio in what's going on, that's up to her.
Yeah, she would.
So y'all are in the palace. The king is getting situated in his seat. They put him in some loose robes that cover most of the bandages. They got a couple of their burliest guards.
Makeup to make him look less pale.
On game.
Wait, he's a lizard. Never mind.
No, he's
Bird lizard.
I was about to say more avian, but okay.
Well, they've got feathers on their head, kind of like hair. I think a little bit on their arms, maybe. They're not completely covered in feathers or anything. But yeah, so they're getting ready to hoist him up when Keltzer comes over the radio about the apparent attempt to assassinate a General Graffin.
Does the name General Graffin mean anything to you?
Oh yes, that's my cousin.
Well, he was just attempted to be assassinated.
Is he all right?
As far as I know.
Is he harmed?
No, he's fine.
He's good.
Luckily, 2 of our associates had already decided to patrol the walls. At this point, it's a blessing that they did.
Indeed.
You sure you don't want to do the box thing?
No, my people need to be able to see me.
Someone disguised as your people just tried to kill your cousin.
We'll tell the people to keep back, though.
That doesn't.
Alright.
At this point, it's his funeral.
Doc chimes in. Not if I can help that.
Well, she doesn't say it, but she's thinking it really loud, like.
Oh yeah. Well,
if there was another Twi'lek in the room, they'd see her head tails going. Oh, as his funeral.
Oh, yeah. If there's another Twi'lek, she'd be looking over at them, like, "Can you believe this? Do you believe this?"
Twi'lek to Twi'lek communication.
So they hoist him up. They walk him outside, and the courtyard that y'all are in are right outside the palace. So it's not like a very long journey. But any of the servants walking around, see the king, and he kind of doesn't quite do the parade wave, but but he once they're close enough, he makes sure to say something to them.
Okay, now we've kidnapped the king. Now what do you know?
You thought the siege was the bad part? No, we just begun.
But you get him on the ship with no incident. Quite a few guards, kind of ring the ship after that. And unless you specifically object, a couple of guards come on board.
He'll let them stand guard outside the medical bay, but they're not allowed to go perusing the rest of the ship.
Well, they weren't planning to leave the king to do any perusing anyway.
Yeah, I was saying that's as far as he'd allow them to go.
So yeah, you get him in there. You get him loaded into the back to tank. Let's see. And for his level, it was going to be 2D hours.
Yeah. Oh, no, 4D. You said he was incapacitated.
Okay.
Roll low.
Well, the doc there needs to make the initial roll.
What the
As
medical?
yeah, because it does require a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Now the book I've got here is saying incapacitated is 2D days.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, oh, this is the D20 core rule book that this one apparently came from.
Hang on.
I
I
thought
keep
that was
referencing
awful
this.
quick.
Yeah, I just looked at the source D20 core rulebook, page 140.
But it's D&D healing. That's always been unusually quick. All right, so somebody give me a two dice roll to see how long this is going to take this guy.
Well, Duba, you're the medical.
I was going to say, did you want me to do that medicine roll or just 2D?
No, this is just 2 dice, just to see how long it takes him.
2D6s coming up.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Wow.
You didn't need me to do it. You may want someone else to do that.
So that's an 11.
Mm-hmm.
I almost rolled perfect, and I shouldn't do that. Oh,
You had the spirit.
crap. If it had been anything else, I would have rolled crap.
I say you trained your dice too well.
Okay, so I was under the assumption off of that rule, we probably were told the king it'd take a few days.
Mm-hmm.
We would absolutely know how long it would take the king to heal out of a back to tank.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can leave it in there for a shorter period of time, and I'll let you bump it from incapacitated to just wounded.
Yep.
Which just being wounded, he can still move around.
But also, like, he doesn't have to be fully healed.
Yeah,
he just has to be good enough to walk around.
Yeah.
To be able to like parlay with other kings. Just gotta get him good enough to be with the other kings.
But we're still going to say that's going to take you about 4 days to get him. We're going to cut it a little more than in half, but.
And as we say, as the DM ruling, if we were going to go with that, we'd have to tell him.
Casual, almost 2 weeks in the tank.
Yeah, just casual 2 weeks. It's fine.
Is he done yet? Just rotate him to the other side.
It's a rotisserie back to tank.
No, please, not with a visual.
He comes out. You told me like 2 hours. What the crap?
If you wanted to underplay it that way, you're unconscious for this anyways, buddy.
But yeah, the queen can, they're having to negotiate exactly how they're going to handle this, the negotiations. The queen can delay if she has to, and truthfully, once the negotiations get underway, at least one of the lords or one of the kings on the other side seems to be trying to delay as well. But as Kelter would report back to you, they're attempting to tunnel under the wall. So.
Would you like us to deal with those tents?
If you would like to, by all means.
All right, BL, let's go.
Well, BL and Kelter are currently on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Well, this would be a little bit later because they've had time to do a little bit of negotiation.
Yeah.
So fair enough. Yes, sir. We're rifle up.
They'll go to the wall.
And you look out and you see the things coated with the goo. You see some bodies that they haven't recovered yet, where they've had to reapply the goo to protect it from fire. Some of the guys doing that have been shot.
So they're still attempting to tunnel while the queen is negotiating.
Yes, the general is there with you. He's like, undoubtedly, Fellis and maybe Van Silly as well, or Van Sil as well, but likely don't want to negotiate while they have hope of this succeeding.
Since I don't speak your language, would you mind one of your people yelling down there, if they don't stop, we'll destroy the tent?
Certainly. And you see him kind of 1 foot up, 1 foot up on the edge of the wall, clears his throat, and then he just bellows. Like somebody that's had to shout commands across a battlefield before.
Mm-hmm. Do they stop?
No, they don't even slow down.
All right, give him fair warning. BL, let's go. And he unslings his rifle and aims at one of the tents.
Are we aiming for people or the structures?
Destroy the structures first. If the people keep going, aim for them next.
And he just opens up. I'm not gonna make you roll to hit the structures. That's big enough, and they're stationary. And
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the rifle. Ayerda has the large, like, anti-material blaster rifle.
It's a Mosin. What are those things called? Mosin. People call them Mosins, but I forget what their full title is. There are these big Russian rifles that a buddy of mine talks about. You use them to kill buildings.
Yeah. I mean, in the game, he has a Blastech DLT-20A, which is a 5D plus 2 long range rifle.
The sad thing is, Cap, you saying that I'm thinking of the gun because it's practically a sniper rifle, but it fires such a round it pierces buildings.
Yeah.
It literally will pierce wall.
Just in case you got to sneak up on the building.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you start unloading. They're basically flimsy little wooden structures. It's enough to stop an arrow.
Yeah.
And it's covered in stuff so they won't burn. But yeah, you just Swiss cheese those things. They end up collapsing. Some of the workers go running out. You see BL start tracking one of the workers running away.
Aim for the ones that are still trying to mine.
Oh, right, of course. Got a little excited.
Of course, it's happening.
I mean,
he's
a war droid. I'm not surprised.
As the rest of the afternoon wears on, you'll periodically get people that were in the tunnels make a break for it, to get back to camp. But as per your orders, if they're running away, BL does not fire at them. Once you reminded him.
If they come back, free game.
Right.
He will tell BL if he sees any turn back to go back to the tunnels, they're fair game. And Ayer doesn't care what the reason is. If they turn back to go to the tunnels, free game.
But all the attacking forces kind of end up pulling back a little bit once blasters got involved. You don't know if they were commanded to pull back or if that was just the troops going, nope.
Yeah.
Morale is a funny thing in old school.
Mm-hmm.
Wild how that works.
Morale is the dictating force of, do I listen to what that says or what that did?
Yep.
Yeah.
Negotiations speed up a little bit after this.
I wonder why.
But when they're done, Ayer just sighs, shoulders the rifle again. Is like, well, that is some of the least of my arsenal.
Literally the least I could do.
Yeah, actually, quite literally the least he could do.
I'm not even charging for this.
The general is looking at your rifle with what can only be described as lust in his eyes. what I could do with just one troop armed like that.
Making bedroom's eyes at the gun.
He just looks back at the general and is like, yeah, no. Your people aren't ready for tech like this.
Careless whispers.
Oh, I
plays
think
with
I'm ready.
You might be, but can you imagine what would happen to the rest of your planet if this started becoming widespread?
Or somebody else got it.
Or if one of them got a hold of one of these.
That's fair. It's very hard to develop a weapon that others don't get their hands on quickly.
Precisely.
Oh, thank you for your assistance.
You're welcome.
So the Queen, over the next few days, will more or less get the negotiations ironed out. We're going to go ahead and call it here.
She hears about somebody just going, hello, with the sapping tints.
So we'll pick up next week with the King, basically, with y'all hatching him out of the back tank.
The whole town's on fire.
That's a visual.
Yeah.
Well, I'm suddenly picturing the scene in the Matrix which wasn't where I was really going when I said that. When Neo gets spit out.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would seriously damage our back to tank. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope y'all had fun. Hope anybody that came by and watched enjoyed it. I certainly had fun running it.
Hell yeah.
It currently says 3 viewers, but I see a much longer list of people there than that. I don't know what's going on. Twitch confuses me. But anyway.
That's a mood, though. Let's be real.
But anyway, if you enjoyed tonight, Diver's got other games on tap. Jeremy, why don't you fill us in on what those other games are?
Well, starting tomorrow, we have Fall Scarlet Knights with the Bard presiding over that. We've got a Knight's Ransom with Pink Rambo over that one. Nothing on Friday unless somebody's announced something that I don't know about. On Saturdays, we have the Stolen Cities with Lore Keeper Alex. And on Sunday, we have Varenheim with Storyteller Trail. And then Monday, I believe it's still on hold until March. So not that far away, but still not
Getting
quite
there
yet.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the Troubleshooters, and that's going to be their final season. And then you come back to us for Remnant Shadow, a Star Wars actual play.
For more
Very good,
shenanigans.
very good. Yep, that's what we are. We're shenanigans and tangents.
Educational tangents, though. You
Yes,
know who
yes.
did the Willem scream.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.